The United States is home to 5% of the total world population. Of the people living in the United States, 25% of those people are prisoners. The rate of people being in prison is at historic heights, and this may be because judges are being forced to give out minimum sentences for certain crimes, no matter what the cause of the crime may be, which is giving rise to the population of people that are in prison. Prisons are an essential tool to keep society safe. And as they do keep society safe, they do at times create problems for families, which when people get out of prison, they have problems finding jobs, housing, and end up homeless or return back to crimes, sometimes worse than what they started doing before they had been locked up. Along with people returning back to crime after getting out of prison, there are other problems such as federal money problems, whereas prisoners can cost up to $30,000, where that money cannot be used on other things that could reduce crimes or hire extra police officers or help strengthen educational programs so students don't have to turn to places of crime, but instead they can turn to someone else or find something more productive to do. As prisons do tend to lock up people that do like to participate in crime, they aren't efficient at stopping crime because they spend so much money on the prisoners themselves per year. They cannot use that money to stop crimes out in the streets. When asking a child about prison and their thoughts on it, they tend to think they're negatives. AJ, what do you think about prison?
I think that people can probably get beat up or die in jail.
Why do you think that?
Because jail is bad, and for people that do bad stuff like robbing a place, killing people, stuff like that.
And do you think that prisons help society?
Does that mean?
Do you think that after people go to prison and they go back to the real world, it helps them and other people around them?
No, because they'll be all crazy and trying to beat everybody up because they had a hard time in jail.
And what would you do if you were around someone who used to be in prison?
If they did anything weird, I'll call the cops.
You call the cops on them? Because you would feel unsafe, or why?
Because I'd feel unsafe.
Okay, thank you. So, AJ, there are 3 fundamental moral norms. That 1, punishment should be proportional to crimes, meaning that they should be fair. 2, that like cases should be treated alike. So if one person kills someone and then another person kills a different person, they should be treated the same, for example. And 3, that criminal punishment should not do more harm than it does good, meaning that you want the prisoner to be punished and not to overexceed a punishment and learn a life lesson that's going to torment them. Okay, so AJ, the courts tend to ignore these 3 moral norms, which does take effect on people that are locked up, their families that are outside, and especially children because they see people that they know in jail and prison. What do you think would happen to families and little kids seeing this happen?
That would be really sad.
Well, why do you think they'd be sad?
Because they're locked away from their loved ones.
Because they're locked away from their loved ones? Well, according to some research I did, apparently the children of color, like us, because we are mixed, they tend to face more problems with people being locked up, and they actually, when their family members come out, they have a harder time finding jobs and being back in society, and they actually have more of a chance of being at risk for being homeless. What do you think would happen if someone you knew got locked up and we were at those risks?
I would be sad because, well, it matters who it is. Like if it was my mom or dad, I'd be sad. If it was a friend, I would probably be sad. If it was a sibling, yeah. But it also depends on the crime. And like if they kill somebody, then I won't be as much sad because they have a reason to be in jail. And yeah, that's all I got.
So obviously you're 10 and you're not blind to crime. A big problem with the court cases also is that people who are charged with little crimes and go to jail tend to mess around with felons in prison, and they like to step up and move on to bigger crimes. Do you think that's going to hurt society when those people get out again?
Yeah, because they're like could like make a big enough problem, it can affect so much.
So you think that people that go back to jail multiple times and mess around people who've done worse than them are a problem on society?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
As seen from the eyes of a 10-year-old, prison is a problem. And recently, there have been pictures of the prison food, and soon to come will be pictures of prison itself, as well as the bus prisoners have to ride. Now, it's no surprise that people think prison is a good place to be because you get 3 meals a day, you get a shower, and you get a free space to live. But you're inside a cell most of your day, and you're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to have most of your stuff that you're allowed to have outside. You're always watched by guards, and you have no trust. Prison is not a good place to be. Studies have been conducted to find that putting people in jail exposes them to felons and people who are more experienced in crimes than they are, which makes people who aren't as experienced want to branch out and commit more crimes, especially ones that are more serious. Prison is a place that is considered to be a spot for people to go into rehabilitation to come back into society as a better person. But rehabilitation hasn't been a legislated aim of U.S. prison policy since 1984. It is understood that the United States does want people to have a better life. But we now lock up 7 times as many people as France, 11 times as many people as the Netherlands, and 15 as many people as Japan, which does not look good. It is known that a 10-year sentence costs 10 times as much as a 1-year sentence, but it's nowhere near 10 times effective as a 1-year sentence in general. The United States locks up people in an attempt to better society, but when those incarcerated people get out, they aren't necessarily better, and they actually can and usually do turn to worse crimes. Prison does not help as much as we think it should, and society could do a lot better with using different sorts of punishment instead of just straight resorting to prison. Therefore, the United States and American prison system does not benefit society as much people think it does.